Hello students, welcome to Crack Grade B online learning platform. Today in this video lecture we are going to discuss what to study for phase 2 exams specifically in for ESI and FM in next 15 days. So we will discuss in detail what you have to study in next 15 days. So this is the syllabus. We will start with the ESI. And this is a study plan. These are the topics we have mentioned. At least you must study these topics. This PDF we will share in our Telegram channel, and these questions which have been asked in the previous year, this is given here. So you can see that what type of the current affair you have to focus. You can get idea from which current affair is important, because there are number of current affairs in PIB website as well as in newspaper. So you are confused about what to study, what not to study from those current affairs, what you have to skip. So you can go through these questions, topic of the questions. These were asked in last 3-4 years. You can see that GDP by NSO, GDP and gross national income, inflation, economic survey. This GDP figure from economic survey, GDP by NSO, National Statistical Office, GDP and GNI, this gross domestic product and gross national income by NSO. So NSO report from here. NSO report is very important. Recently has been released, so it is very important. Fact and figures are very important. These questions will be asked in at least 2 markers questions. So these are the important. You have to focus on such news from the current affair. Actually, this subject objective part of ESI will be based on the current affair. CA plus government schemes plus RBI circular, budget and economic survey or reports. Budget, economic survey and various reports. These are questions of ESI will be based on these things only. So if you want to skip static part for the ESI objective part, you can do, but some basic definition you can cover, like that national income chapter in GDP, GNP. These sometimes in 1 marker question they can ask the direct formula. NSO who publish these GDP data, NSO, about NSO you can study method of calculation of this GDP. Various methods are there, product or value added method, expenditure method, income method. So in this chapter you can do. And one more chapter, that inflation, types of inflation, Phillips curve. These basic definition you can cover. As you know that stagflation was asked in the phase 1 as well. So such definition they can ask in 1 marker question. But from current they will ask such question from the reports, GDP reports of NSO, and other current affair. You can see that economic survey, GDP they have asked, inflation definition they asked, and also they can ask the inflation, this CPI index, WPI index, or index of industrial production, index of core industries. These data, latest data is only important, latest one. Poverty elevation and employment generation in India, mostly they will ask the schemes of schemes relevant to this poverty elevation and employment generation. So Ministry of Rural Development, Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, Labor and Employment related, other schemes which are relevant to these employment related, and various committee, those who have estimated the India as poverty line. So there are different committee, you must know those. They can ask the comparison of the committee in descriptive part, but in this objective part most probably they will ask the schemes or any current affair. Schemes or any current affair they can ask, or some they can also ask about the committee, but comparison they can ask in descriptive of different committee. And descriptive, for descriptive this is very important topic. Last time they have asked SDG, sustainable development and environmental issues. These topics I have mentioned, you can go through these topics, it will not take much time. And COP26, this is very important, but India has committed 5 Panchamrits. I think that is very important, what other countries have committed. So you must study this COP26. where COP27 will be held, it can be asked in 1 marker or 2 marker. SDG India Index by Niti Aayog is very important. They have asked previously 2 times this in RBI Grade B, so it is very important. and any other current affair relevant to this sustainable development environmental issues currently in last 4 months. That is important, and all the other initiative of this Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, like National Action Plan on Climate Change and National Adaptation Fund on Climate Change, NGT, National Green Tribunal. So you must have idea about these things and whatever current affair. And UNDP, you have to study SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. So different 17 goals are there. So many times they have directly asked this SDG 4 is related to which goal. So they can ask such questions. So you have to focus on such things. Next is economic history of India, change in industrial and labor policy, monetary policy, fiscal policy. So many times they have this monetary policy committee, monetary policy committee. These questions have been asked in ESI part. They did not ask the question on monetary policy committee in FM, but they have asked many times in ESI. So monetary policy committee, how it is formed, how members are selected, what are the tenure, they can be selected again and not. So such questions, such things you must know and you have to cover. And Niti Aayog is very important. Niti Aayog's initiative, that is very important. And planning commission, what were different plan in India. So you must have an idea, because they in general awareness one question they asked first and 12th 5-year plans tenure was asked. So DPIIT, Department of Industrial and Internal Trade, it is very important. This EPFO, ESI is related. You have to study about this EPFO and ESIC and their implementation, means their basic details, like EPFO for which industry have to mandatorily follow this EPFO and ESIC. And fiscal policy means budget. Monetary policy means RBI's monetary policy you have to cover. So these are very important for objective as well as subjective. And in planning, 5 years plan, specifically Mahalanobis plan, Gadgil formula plan, Niti Aayog is very important. Industrial policy and new industry policy is that is in news industry 4.0. Currently it has not been released, but in future they can release. So sometimes in 2018 or 19 they have asked the question on this industry 4.0. So if it is in news, it is very important. So you can visit this DPIIT website also. So if any news is here, you can follow those. So you must have an idea about this DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and any current news relevant to these topics. Any current news, Ministry of Labor and Employment schemes, these are important for this chapter. So you can cover the schemes, news based on these topics only. You can see that what were asked. Niti Aayog related question was asked. Business Reform Action Plan, Department of this Industry and Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade related one question was asked that. And fiscal monetary policy, I have already told that they have asked previously. Monetary policy of committee of RBI. Fiscal policy related question they can ask, like what are the components of capital receipt, capital expenditure, revenue receipt, revenue expenditure, what is the formula of fiscal deficit, primary deficit, revenue deficit. So they have asked the question. Budget related question from the budget speech I previously have been asked. So budget and economic survey is very important for this exam. Even this time economic survey, and they have mentioned about the agile framework, barbell strategy, and safety net programs. These are very important for descriptive point of. I believe they will ask the question from this agile framework, how agile framework and barbell strategy helped in India from COVID impact Indian economy, how this strategy helped for Indian economy. So they can ask these are the same we are studying in these topics we are studying in finance, RBI monetary policy, Indian financial system we are covering. These are the standard topics like finance commission is very important. 15th finance commission very important. GST concept, you must know what is GST, and what this can be asked in descriptive paper. And direct tax related basic details you must know. FRBM is very important. FRBM simple details you must know, that FRBM they have targeted India's fiscal deficit. So you must know what is the target. Similarly, GST basic details you must know, what are the tax slabs and what is input tax credit, and different important things about this GST given in the content that you must know. 15th Finance Commission highlight, like last year they asked in the descriptive paper also. And this for this specifically for this descriptive part, contribution of service sector in India's GDP and economic growth, agriculture sectors in India's economic growth and post independence, how agriculture sector have grown or service sector have grown after 1991 they can ask. So these are the important topic, and various government scheme we have already told that schemes are very important for this exam. LPG reforms is very important point of view of descriptive. It is very important. Export import policy new has not yet been released. So export import policy highlights you must know. They can ask in the question. FDI related recent updates, means recent news is there, like in budget they have increased for this I think insurance sector for LIC this disinvestment purpose. So that is important. FDI related data of the annual data specifically is important. FDI, total FDI, and export import data, total export in country in last year, and means annual data you have to cover. Balance of payment related basic concept, but mostly they will ask from the current affair only. So LPG is important point of view of descriptive. This is very important topic. International economic institution, last 4 or 5 years every year they're asking the question from a GDP report released by any of the organization like Asian Development Bank, OECD, World Economic Outlook by IMF, World Trade Organization, this other report, UNCTAD World Investment Report related question was asked. So on this GDP related report, 4 to 5 paragraph based question they will ask. So GDP report of latest GDP report by these organizations like UNCTAD, UN, OECD, ADB, World Bank and IMF. These are very important, and other report like World Investment Report, if it is there in recently has been released. So WTO initiative, any news relevant to these institutions, very important. Socioeconomic class census, it is given on the SEC website also, in our content also. One table is there, 4 or 5 data is given. So one question we can expect in 2 marker or 1 marker. Gender inequality index, if it is released, so if it is in news or it has been released recently, then it is important. Otherwise schemes and other reports related to this topic, woman and child, and the report like global gender gap, they can ask. The social justice is also important. Only last year they did not ask, but when previously they have asked schemes from this chapter. Any news is there, any initiative by the any initiative relevant to SC, ST, minorities and OBC, if it is there, and current any new scheme is there. So and past scheme also have been asked previously. So schemes are important in this topic. Schemes are important, and descriptive they can ask like what are the issue related to the minorities and underprivileged in India. Social movement they have asked. So if any social movement is currently in news or past, any social movement which happened in past but it is in currently in news, so they can ask from this. Indian political system basic question they can ask, like last year I think last 2019 they are asked, and 2018 also they asked some question from our Indian basic parliament structure and Indian constitution. Human development chapter is important for descriptive part also. They can ask that human development index features, they can ask human development related question descriptive, they can ask. And this UNDP HDI, last HDI was asked released in I think 2019 or 20. That is only important, no other. After that they have not yet released the index, so that last HDI you have to cover. School education quality index, healthy state progressive India, these have been asked previously, these questions. So schemes and reports relevant to the health and education, national education policy, these are the important. Specifically this healthy state progressive India recently was released by Niti Aayog, and national education policy is very important. National achievement survey related to education was recently. Some report was there of UNICEF, I think UNICEF or UNESCO is there related to the children education in India. So these are important for the ESI objective parts, basically which are currently in news. We have given a list of important schemes in our content, so try to cover those important schemes. Those are important. And RBI circulars are very important. Every year they are asking 4 or 5 questions from RBI circular. So last 4 or 5 months RBI circulars are important, which are in news. So they will ask question based on the paragraph will be given and you have to answer accordingly. 4 5 question, 2 marker question they are asking from the RBI circular. You have to focus on those. And other, you can see these all the questions topics, everything they have asked from some specific current affair, and these current affair mainly you will find in the PIB news, and some are reports. So if you are able to cover PIB, RBI circular, schemes, budget, economic survey, and schemes, budget, economic survey, and reports, important reports, GDP reports and other reports, then you can easily score good marks. And schemes, you can see that previously these schemes have been asked and we have given a list of important schemes. Stick to those. Specifically, I will advise you, those who are not going with all the schemes, Ministry of Rural Development, Finance, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Jal Shakti, Ministry of Panchayati Raj, Ministry of Housing, Urban Affairs, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. These are the ministry which you have to, these schemes from these ministry you have to do on priority. Labor and Employment, and some schemes from other ministries also important, and some scheme of Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development also important. Not all scheme, but some schemes are important. These ministry you can do on priority. And next is finance. We have to mention the topics what you have to study, and static plus, mainly static will be there. 50% from finance, 50% from management will be there in the paper. So in finance, first topic is there, Reserve Bank of India, financial institutions. So these are the institutions. You must know where is the headquarter, what is the authorized capital, how any committee recommended. If any committee recommended, then you have to cram that committee name also, and who is the chairman of these institutions. These are important. Like last year in descriptive directly they asked the function of SEBI, exam, NABARD, HB and RRB. You have to write. Next was the Reserve Bank of India monetary policy committee related question they have asked in ESI part, so they can ask in the finance part also. And these things you must know, like OMO, MS, LAF, and recent monetary policy meeting which was held today. So this is very important. Today's monetary policy highlights, and CRR, SLR, Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, PSL, KCC, Interest Subvention, RBI Circular Reports, RBI Annual Report on Trend, Progress of Banking in India, Financial Stability Report, Forex Reserve related data. These are the important from this. Specifically, you have to cover these topics. Very important, these topics. Specifically, this PSL, Integrated Ombudsman Scheme, Interest Subvention Scheme, RBI Circulars. These are very important. FDI in banks. This question was asked. SEBI initiative, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code in 2016. These were asked. So this banking system in India and changing landscape of banking. This is very important topic. Specifically, we have to do the latest news and latest development in these topics, and also like RRB related question they can ask. Cooperative banks related question can be asked. Payment bank, small finance bank are very important. This IBC is very important. PCR, Public Credit Registry. You must know detail. National Asset Reconstruction Limited Company. This is very important. It was in news recently. So the IDRCL and NARCL, these both are very important. They can ask. So you must know the details about this. Infrastructure investment trust and real estate investment trust are also important. This was recently in news because government is planning to convert National Highway Authority of India to the infrastructure investment trust. So this is very important. It is important point of view of descriptive. Last year was asked in descriptive part. In primary secondary market, we have mentioned the basic idea you must have. What is QIB, what is anchor investor, what is American depository receipt, what is global depository receipt, what is Indian depository receipt, what is IPO, right issue. Basic definition you must know, and basic guidelines of IPO you must know. Retail investor can invest how much amount, what is the portion that is for the retail investor, what is the process, different terminology in IPO process, like red herring prospectus, ASPA, applications quoted by block the amount. Last time UPI related one paragraph was asked, means UPI was allowed for the IPO payment. So that was asked in directly in RBI Grade B exam. So different terminology they asked, like depository, NSDL, CDSL, Central Depository Service Limited. These questions have been asked. Other basic things you must know, like these NSC, National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange, and these securitization, demutualization. Previously they have asked such definition directly. Corporatization, what are these organization? You must know at least full form what they do. Okay, social stock exchange, gold exchange, and one more thing is there, mutual fund basic. Mutual funds basic you must know. They have asked many times simple terminology related to the mutual fund, and in phase 1 GA they have asked many times. And forex, money market, bond market is very important. Specifically this treasury bills, commercial paper, bonds, zero coupon bond, types of bond they have asked, and different type of accounts are there, so they have asked previously. And FBI, MBIL, those this organization is very important. They can ask the question from this, and different terminology which we have mentioned here. In forex they can ask like depreciation, appreciation, revaluation, devaluation of rupee or Indian currency swaps. They can ask different type of count, FEMA highlights. Basic things you must know. If it is in news they can ask some one question, and even if you want to skip you can skip, but I will advise you to study basic idea. This liberalized remittance scheme limit was enhanced by RBI, so it is very important. I have been asked many times in various banking exams. Risk management in banking sector, different type of risk, very important. Specifically, the CRAR numerical was asked related to the Basel norms, systematic risk, pillar under Basel 2, Basel 3. These are very important in this PCR, this prompt corrective action. PCA framework is very important. Basel norms are very important from this chapter. Last year, a descriptive question was asked on the Basel norms. In derivative, basic of derivative you must know. You can read that what is call option, put option, what is the derivative, what is forward future. Basic, if you are able to cover the basic idea, means basic concept. If you know the basic concept, you can easily attempt question. Letter of credit was asked. International business, this international banking was last year only. Last year they have added in the syllabus, so they can ask question 1 or 2 marker. Single question. These definitions you must know, and this PDF we will share in the Telegram channel. And next, financial inclusion, where is very important. These questions have been asked last time. NATC, National Electronic Toll Collection System, FASTag related question was asked. So these are the topic, different topic. These basic, like what is BMAP, IMPS, NEFT, NACH, what are these? So you must know the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, financial education, PSL, KCC, Kisan credit card, interest mentioned. These are important. You can skip this National Strategy for Financial Education and Inclusion because they have asked previously questions. So I don't think they will ask. If you have less time, if you have not already studied, then you can skip these. Other things you have to study. Alternate source of finance. Last time question were asked on the PPP and hybrid annuity model. Last or I think 2019 they have asked. So P2P lending, crowdfunding, these are the important, and this trades system, and this one trade receivable discounting system, and factoring is very important from this chapter because it was in news in this year only, so it is very important. They can ask the question. And this infrastructure models, different PPP models are there. Toll operate transfer model, hybrid annuity model. These are very important. You have to cover these basic definitions. Corporate governance in banking sector is very important. Specifically, RBI have issued time to time various guidelines like fit and proper criteria for board of directors, chairman, and managing directors. So you have to cover these important conditions. And previously they have asked the question on fit and proper. Union budget, and this we have already discussed in ESI. You have to cover these basic topics specifically. And static concept of budget means fiscal policy related concept you must know. GDP, GST, and contribution of agriculture in GDP or GVA, FDI, fiscal, this export import, and such data is very important. But in finance they can ask the static concept. WPI, IIP, index of industries, we have already told you to cover. They have asked the question like this. Stagflation type of this was asked in GA part also this year, so such things you have to cover. In finance descriptive question you can see from the specifically this public private partnership, financial inclusion for descriptive is very important. Global financial market is important, risk management in banking sector, and global financial currency is a banking system, monetary policy, inflation. These are the various, because inflation is nowadays is news because RBI MPC is not able to maintain the target what was given by the government to them for ±2. So this is in news, so they can ask the question by linking it to with the MPC. Fintech is very important. This time they can ask the question in objective as well as in descriptive. Very important this time. And some numerical they have asked. So I will not suggest you to go with the numerical. Few numericals which have been asked in the previous year. We will provide you in our Telegram channel. You can see the solution. Stick to those numerical only. No need to do some new numerical or other things. I will advise skip those. In management is completely static, so we have given the topics list here, so need to study at least this basic definition, and list of questions from management specifically for descriptive part we will share. So study those prepare those questions for the descriptive part, and standard questions are being asked from the management part. You can see that like manager role, MBO, management by objective, just in time, inventory control related, all these are the part of in this management. First, planning, organizing, management functions, planning, organizing, directing, staffing, controlling, like this, decision making, group decision, brainstorming, Delphi technique. These simple definitions are given. Simple definition you can prepare for objective part. And for descriptive part, they can ask from this topic, like what are the principle given by the Henry Fayol, what are the principle of management given by the Henry Fayol, what are the various function of management, or explain, planning, organizing, any of two. So they can ask. So these are the definition you have to cover. At least definition you must know sometime. In objective you will see that only the definition. Organization behavior is very important. Last time they asked the question in objective as well as in descriptive, so it is very important. These topics you have to cover. Any standard book or any website you can refer. Easily you can find various books on the Google. In motivation is very important. You can see the question from the motivation. Leadership theories are very important. Direct questions they can ask that which theory was given by Herzberg and who has given two-factor theory. So they can ask the question like this only, and paragraph will be given. Based on that you have to answer, and in one marker question direct question will be there. So these important theories you have to cover. Emotional intelligence and Johari window transactional analysis. So basic concept you have to study. At least you can answer the question in the paper. Last time this change model related question was asked. Kurt Levin's theory of change was asked. So this is also important. Conflict is also important. So conflict is important from descriptive point of view also. Organization change is also important from descriptive point of view. Leadership, they can ask the question on descriptive. Last time asked the transformational and transactional, difference between transactional and transformational leadership. Motivation, they can ask the descriptive question also they can ask the question based on these theories, that write a note on the following theories. So that is important. Ethics, whatever is given in the syllabus, that is important. Most probably they will ask the descriptive question from the ethics. Also the corporate governance is very important for descriptive. Previously they have asked question on Kotak committee. And communication is very important as well as descriptive as well as objective. These topics you have to cover. These are the miscellaneous topic you have to cover. Actually you have to cover at least the definition of these topics to if you know the concept, if you know the definition, then you can easily attempt the question in the paper, because many question you will find direct, and management specifically theory based. Similarly in finance also. And for descriptive we have given a list of these topics specifically. Measurement of growth, how it is being done, contribution of agriculture sector, and service sector you can also add here. Service sector, urbanization, migration issue in India, monetary policy, fiscal policy, demographic trends, poverty and employment issue related to minorities and underprivileged, gender issues, specifically women and child. What are the issue, what are the initiative taken by the government, you can mention in the when you are writing answer, then you can mention the various schemes. Health related issue, national education policy, sustainable development, environment issue, climate change related issue, e-vehicles. Last time they asked that what is the effect of climate change on health. So similarly, they can ask that general topics, standard topics like e-vehicle is in news, e-vehicle and renewable energy. So these two are very important in the sustainable development and environmental issues. Other topics means standard, they can ask what are the various environmental issues and sustainable development related question they can ask in descriptive. Middle development index, LPG reforms, developments in Indian economy since 1991, financial inclusion index, NABFID, National Bank for Financing Infrastructure Development, it is in news, so they can ask MSME's role in Indian economic growth. They can ask prompt corrective action framework, they can ask in the finance. Niti Aayog is very important for ESI. Ethanol blending program is very important in news. Sustainable agriculture, neobank or digital banking. Very important topic, digital banking. It is very important topic for English descriptive as well. Industrial Revolution 4.0, PM Gati Shakti for ESI. These are very important topics. FPOs, RBI monetary policy, retail direct scheme for FM paper, cryptocurrency in ESI finance. They can ask 15th Finance Commission, Basel guidelines, developmental financial institution, NARCL, IDRCL, doubling farmer income, bad bank, FRBM, cooperative bank under RBI, FATI sector lending guidelines, financial inclusion, microfinance, RBI integrated development scheme, e-rupee or digital rupee, you can say, or central bank digital currency, you can say, and e-vehicles we already mentioned, MSP, green hydrogen policy, new labor law in India, small finance bank, role in financial inclusion and impact of global financial crisis of 2007-8, impact of COVID on Indian. Standard question list we will prepare on these topics, and you can also prepare till the time yourself. We will give standard questions based on these topics so that you can prepare for the exam. And for any doubt, you can contact us or comment on this video. And this is our course for RBI Grade B. You can easily cover in less time. If you have basic knowledge, you can easily cover. And keep studying, don't waste your time. If any query, any guidance, you can contact us. And we will keep adding descriptive MCQs. We will keep adding till the exam. We will keep providing MCQs on current affairs, important notes, important current affairs, and also we will provide these mock tests on progressively. And if you want to subscribe our course, you can visit our website. And thank you and happy learning.